Today it's about the observer pattern, and what the observer pattern is looks like this. So we've got the subject, and we got the observer, and the subject is like I don't know, a newsstand or a broadcast that has some news, and then we've got observers who subscribe to these news, and whenever there's something new coming up, the subject broadcasts all of this information to all its subscribers. All right, and this is implemented as a class. This is an interface, and here we inherit or implement this interface, in particular this function here. Okay, about the subject. The subject contains some private, one private, and a few public methods. This is used for registering, unregistering, and notifying the observers. And the observers are saved in this observer collection. And the interface, like really simple, it's only got this notify method. And that's it. And yeah, as you can see, the notify is used to retrieve information of the subject.
So to sum this up, the subject holds an observer collection, which means it holds a collection, can be a list or an array, of all the concrete observer instances. So the subject knows who to inform if something changes, and it's the duty of the subject to actually inform.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it like this. We've got here, let's say make it a little bit concrete. We've got here the server. Let's say we've got the server.
Put it into the JavaScript part?
No, it's HTML. I want to type in something. And then let's say it's called C subject for concrete subject. Okay, input, is it wrong?
But the BR is from dash slash.
No, it's a self-closing.
But in the end, no? Okay. This one.
Let's make it.
I think the input tags don't have a closing tag. That's the thing.
For real? Oh, they do have this.
That could work.
But works for both.
Well, Chrome can do a lot.
Okay, let's implement I don't know 2 or maybe 3 concrete observers. Observer A, and then another one, observer B.
This one is right now still has the same name, but observer A twice.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, we've got here 2 observers. Let's say, let's make it this. Let's implement first the observer list. and should have an array. Where's the rectangular brackets?
Alt 5 or something around there. Yeah.
And this one uses different methods in order to add and remove the observers. So I will use the prototype pattern that I mentioned in an earlier talk, because otherwise I can implement it here directly, but then every instance of this one will create another function, an add function. And if I put it in a prototype, then every instance then this function will only exist once, and in this class, in this parent class. So yeah, it's for better performance only. Okay, I want to add an observer. I will push it in here. This is add, then I need to remove. And in JavaScript you remove it by splicing it, and you need an index for this. And remove only one element. Before you remove it, you don't want to remove. You want to move an object. So before this, we want to get the index of a certain observer. So I use a for loop for this. And it would be fancy if I had a count function that gives me the length of my observer list. Okay, then
Counter or count?
Count.
Does it need observer list also? Or can it just be this?
No, because I want to access this.
But the count function.
Yeah, but it's tied to observer list and not the observer list.
Okay.
It's basically the class, and the class is an attribute called observer list. Okay, then if I find it, then I want to return it, the index. So I will go through all the observer list. And if I find it, if I find the observer, I want to return the index. Otherwise, to -1. Okay. Another thing that we later will use is the get observer, because yeah, as you will see, get object, yeah, get observer. Okay, this is the observer list. Now we want to implement the subject.
So which part did we implement right now here? And you can show it.
We first have this.
We have the observer collection. We have that. We have.
This is I implemented this class. Now I want to implement this class.
We have the register observer, which is the add. We have the unregistered observer, which is remove in our case, and we have notify observers that we don't have yet anything, right? Okay, so I understand.
Subject. Okay. This observer collection. We instantiate this thing here with all its methods. And then now we the methods that we defined before was only for this one, so for accessing, adding, and removing stuff. Now we want to implement the real method of this subject. It's yeah, register observer. This is this observer collection. Now we want to edit.
Now I see.
Yeah, because now we implement, so we got this function that we can add to these observer collection. Okay, the same for unregistered. Okay. Then we need the notify observers. Notify observers with news. And we're doing this by having another for loop. Now we're going through all the observer collection. Going through all the observer collection. So this should have our count method.
Come
on.
No, nothing.
Okay, then should go through all of them. And then we want to retrieve the observer. And we got the observer. And and the observer got this method implemented. It's called notify. And in this notify, we want to pass in the parameter news. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, we are we are accessing. So the subject knows about the observer, and this explains this diamond notation. It means this is an aggregation. So it's a little bit stronger than association. Yeah, simply because the subject knows about the observer. Okay, now that we've got this, we want to implement.
So let's shall we recap quick of the functions which are already there? So we have, because we have made quite a little construct there already. So we start with basically implementing a observer list class, or like a observer list class that provides us with the functionality of having a list that you can add and remove stuff from it. And yeah, I think this is very clean. It seems a little bit, for our current example, maybe it's a little bit in the details. Maybe it was not super necessary, but it's definitely showing a good separation of keeping the code clean. But so when we took this and we encapsulated it inside our register and unregister and notify observers function, right? So now we have the part that is observable, the part that can generate news and distribute it to others. Is that so far correct? Okay. So now what we're doing is we are looking at to make a thing that wants to get notified from any changes in the subject.
Yeah. What I now want to implement is basically the interface. So the interface is it's an interface. It's empty.
So basically, this is the way how you would define an interface. You create an empty object, an empty function, observer, and interface observer, and give it a basic notify functionality, but that has no implementation. And now you're gonna generate classes or objects that are derived from that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, and that's a good point, because in order to do this, we need an additional helper function that first of all gets all the objects, and then applies all the functions that we created to that particular objects. And the objects are these that I created. I will later on retrieve them, and then yeah. So now I want to retrieve them. So C subject should be this one. Now I want to extend them. Okay, and extending means now I got this, but these guys don't have the function that I just implemented. So I will apply to them the functions. So
what does that do actually? So you take a C subject, which is the observable document, basically it's the input field here, and you extend it with a subject with the extend method. But how does that actually work? You give in, how does the extend method work there?
Well, here we've got certain functions defined, and what we retrieved up to here is only this object with whatever particular function they have. For example, I don't know, key up. They got the built-in functions like an event listener, like key up, or other attributes like value and stuff. But we want to do more with these guys. We want this guy to notify these guys. But this is only an input box. So we want to extend this with additional functions.
So what we do in the extension method is that we, by iterating over extensions properties, basically, from extension of I, we iterate over all properties that exist in the object that is given in extension. That can be, for example, here, register observer or unregistered observer. That is a property. And we take it and assign it with the object of I. We assign it to the same property in object. We basically copy properties of objects to other objects.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting that this works because I is numeric, and the property, for example, notify, or the property remove and add is definitely not a numeric property. It has a specific name.
What do you mean numeric property?
Because the extension of I starts with 0 until it has the length of all properties, right? Extension.length. So I'm getting extensions property of number 0. But
they are saved in array, so we can iterate through them.
Extensions are saved, properties are saved in extensions array. Okay.
Yeah, or
Didn't know that.
Okay, what I want to do next, then
it's an interesting way of inheriting.
Yeah, let's first add an event listener. And the goal of the event listener should be whenever I type in something, it should notify all its observers. First, we need a few observers, so let's register some. Actually, I don't need this because I got this function already. So. What's this?
Unexpected token.
Unexpected token. I don't understand.
Function observer.
Looks correct, right?
I observe it. Notify.
I don't get it.
What is this?
Just observe is not a function.
Oh, it's not a function.
Right, it's not a function.
What is C subject a type of? C subject.
Just observer. It's a fun. Of course, prototype. Of course, it's a function.
Do you see it or what?
No.
What does that like for extends function of this?
Extension var one. I don't know.
Unexpected brackets. Unclear to me right now.
Yeah, I've got a backup plan, and I don't know, but yeah, I created it earlier already, so we can load this. Maybe yeah, because otherwise we would spend too much time here. It's basically the same, made with more functionalities.
And you walk us quickly through the
yeah.
code.
Okay. It's basically there instead of one, instead of two, we've got three. But the functionalities should be the same. Maybe we can quickly compare why it's. Yeah, you've seen it already. We've got this observer list. It's got these functions.
With subject.
And then the subject, which is observer. This is what it doesn't recognize as functions, but it's implemented exactly the same as here, right?
I think here this dot observer collection, the
Yeah.
spelling, this thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter because it's all written wrongly the same. But that's not the issue because here it says it can't recognize as a function, but here it's.
Here it is different. See, this thing is this indexing is not there. Just go to your this one. The difference here. See the
there you get observer of I and you don't directly get it.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, make mistake. Yeah, it should be the other way around.
No one of us saw it.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
But does it is it making difference? This one is making difference.
Yeah, it is. This one gets an object and no, wait a minute. Notify observer. Wait a minute. Ah, yeah, true. It's I've indexed an array, but it's not an array.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. True.
Yeah, it should be like this.
Does it work then?
No,
Still
it's
not.
few more errors. But
Okay,
this
then don't sweat it. Let's
Yeah.
go to your.
okay.
The one which
Prepared.
is working.
I already prepared something for you here. Cake is already.
There.
I baked it yesterday already. So yeah,
Okay.
forward. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. It's
Here extends them. Okay, then we register observers.
Then I think we were at this point here. Then yeah, want to for each instances of the observers, I create a notify function of its own, because before I only implemented the interface, so it's the function is of course empty, and here I yeah, make some individual functions. For observer A, it's this one. I only retrieve the value and display it. And here I say set a timeout, so display it a little bit later in order to simulate, for example, time zone delay. Maybe it's useful. And yeah, we also have got an unregister observer, and so the observer C unregisters after 3 seconds. Okay, let's run. I hope it works. Oh yeah, it works.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
ASDF. So this is a little bit slower, and this whenever this one changes, it updates this client, and this is a little bit slow because of this delay of 1 second. And this now, if I update now, then this should be unregistered, so it should stay the same.
Because 3 seconds have passed already for that
Exactly.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Right.
Okay. Let's go through. Any questions?
No, looks good.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go through advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are it's loosely coupled. Yeah, observer and subject, they know a little bit. Okay, this one doesn't know about this one, but this one knows about this.
Yeah, but the subject knows about observer, but it knows only very, very little about implementation. It only knows that there's a notify method which it can pass in any string. But what happens inside observer is none of the business of the subject. Yeah. Do you have a disadvantage also?
Yeah, it's well, the advantages also a little bit of the disadvantages. Because of the loosely coupling, the observer doesn't know much about the subject or other observers. So and then the updating can be a little bit tricky. I've read somewhere that it's could be unpredictable, and there could be sequence issues. Okay, I think we are overdue. Okay,
Cool.
thank you.